everyone. Welcome back to Susan Dawn Spiritual Connections. Welcome to a brand new Sacred Union Energy Update. It's very early here, and I wasn't sure what we were going to do today. I am going to be having a Soul Path reading coming up, so we might have some readings back to back. But I just kind of sat down to pull some cards, and I already have some cards laid out because this is what came out. And I feel like this is pretty indicative of the energy that we have been feeling. So we have peace, we have soulmates, we have happy, and the bottom of the deck we have the yang energy. And I just want to recap some energy that we have been experiencing since the last Sacred Union energy update. With regards to these connections, there's a very lovey-dovey energy that's coming through, a very gooey, warm energy that is coming through. It feels like there is this peace that is coming between these counterparts, where there might have been conflict, where there might have been chaos, where there might have been friction or tension or whatever energies existed before. We're moving into the higher heart ascension. We're moving into the next level of our union. We've been talking about that for maybe 2 years now, how we have, it's almost like they show it to me like this. You see these 2 circles here? They showed it to me like this is like the twin flame journey, as we call it. This is the friction, the triggers, all that stuff that comes up for the healing. It's for the purpose of healing, without intention for chaos, without intention for conflict, but you trigger each other. You are the shadow and the light. And we just did a channeling on that, a significant teaching and channeling on that, where you trigger the shadow and the light within each other. So I'll have that in the description box. But so this is one phase of your journey. This is the healing aspect, and your healing continues, but we move into our embodiment aspect. And that's what I call the higher heart ascension. And that's where you have some endings within your connection, or an ending with regards to how the journey might have been playing out, how your relationship might have been playing out. There's a significant ending, perhaps even a separation, as you are learning how to embody everything that you have learned, how you have grown, how you have evolved. And so we move into this higher heart ascension, this higher journey, and I call this the twin soul, just to kind of differentiate. The twin flame has a heavier connotation to it, maybe a heavier energy to it, and I believe that's because of the collective. I feel like that's because of the community. There's more of a heaviness, because it's been so hijacked, because it's been so misconstrued and misunderstood what the journey actually is. So there's a little bit of a heaviness energy attached to that label. Remember, it's just a label. You can apply it however you feel called to, but it is just a label. We're not meant to get attached to the label. It's the energy that we feel with these sacred relationships. And so we move into what I call a twin soul energy. Could be the same person, could be a different counterpart, depends on what your journey is. But that twin soul energy is more harmonious. It is more fluid. We say all the time about soulmate connections, and soulmate connections have that ease, have that flow, maybe not without its challenges too, but it's more harmonious. You have that compatibility. Twin flames or twin souls, they have that compatibility as well on the highest level. You are one on the highest level, but it's fraught with so much confusion, chaos, conflict, because you are mirroring each other, because you are shining the light and the shadows on each other, and that is being reflected back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, until you become conscious of it, until you become aware of it, until you heal it and evolve from there and begin to embody more of that light, because you're integrating the shadow. And so again, it could be the same person. As you're going through this growth, as you're going through this transformation, your partner will be going through it as well. Or for some, you're on a new path with somebody else, somebody who's coming in as a counterpart to reflect back to you your evolution, your growth, your journey. And that could be a high-level soulmate. That could be, a counterpart, if you want to call it. It could be a twin soul or twin flame. Again, the labels do not matter. You know in your heart what your journey is. I have many clients who are on many different paths, who are experiencing some with the original counterpart and some with somebody new. So it just depends on your path and what feels right and true for you. We are not to compete. We are not to compare our journey with anybody else. It is what feels true within our own heart, and that is for you to discover for yourself by tapping into your intuition, by tapping into your heart space, kind of silencing out the noise, blocking out the noise, the influence of other people, and tuning into what feels true to your heart energetically. When you remove all of the soul sludge, when you remove all of the maybe experience of the 3D that you've experienced with your counterpart. We talked about this in the channeling as well. It's called Revealing the Light. I encourage you guys to check out the whole channeling over on Susan Dawn Ascension Connections. Put the energy of your person in front of you without the experiences, without the chaos, the conflict that you might have experienced in your 3D life, without the 3D. Put that person energetically in front of you, and how does the energy feel? When you tap into the heart space, and not the mind, not the ego, but when you see through the lens of that heart, when you see through the lens of love, how does it actually feel? How does that connection feel? How does the energy feel? Because that is a soul-to-soul connection. You're actually seeing the soul of each other, and that is the truth of these connections. It's just that the 3D, the humanness can interfere, the humanness can get in the way. And that's all the unconscious stuff. So we have grace, we have compassion for what we didn't know when we didn't know it. But as we grow more conscious, we have to understand that that's where our superpower is. That's where we become empowered. That's where our embodiment is. That's where we grow, that's where we evolve. By becoming conscious, we integrate that shadow into the light and embody more of our soul essence, more of our authenticity, more of our conscious awareness. By changing the patterns, shifting the beliefs from the unconscious to the conscious. We go through all of this in the Sacred Channelings. I have a Journey to Union video bundle, especially if you're new to the channel and would like the quick version of all of these teachings. You can check out that Journey to Union video bundle. It's I've been adding to it, so we have over 40 videos, over 16 hours of content, and that will continue to be added to. So if you are a member, if you have purchased that video bundle, you will continue to have channelings in relation to that journey. So I'm going to get to the reading in a minute, but I just want to recap this energy because it is picking up on some past energy that we have been channeling. So again, the Venus-Mars conjunction, extremely important for these sacred connections, for these sacred counterparts. I did speak with my astrology teacher, my astrology coach, and she mentioned that Venus-Mars is incredibly important for sacred unions. Now, she's not on that sacred union path, but through my work with her, I've been able to see how the work that I do, because I have a Venus-Mars conjunction in my own chart, how the work that I do has been significant and it shows up in my chart. So the Venus-Mars conjunction has been pivotal in bringing counterparts together. It's the masculine and the feminine energy. The Venus being the feminine energy, Mars being the masculine energy, and a conjunction is when they are together. It's when two planets, Mars and Venus, are close together in the sky at the same time. That's a conjunction. And so that's what these union energies are, being brought together. And the Venus-Mars conjunction that we just had last week was a significant shift. So I'll put links of interest in the description box if you missed anything, because these readings do evolve as part of those channelings, as part of those teachings. So I encourage you guys not to miss anything. So the last sacred union, we talked about the lines of love are open, and there was a very fluid sense of love being passed in that cord, that thread between the two of you. I talked about my own experience of how there was a sense of forgiveness being given and received between the two counterparts, how there was this sense of breaking open from any past pain, any past energy at all. A feeling of safety and security anchoring into the masculine energy and allowing for that freedom of expression of love to come through. Where there had been anxiety, maybe to communicate, where there had been anxiety, maybe to feel that love, because you were holding on to pain, because you were holding on to beliefs, because you were holding on to stories, you were breaking through that. And so the breakthrough, if you haven't experienced that yet, the breakthrough is coming. Just keep coming back to the love. Keep returning to the love. So I did another check-in We talked about how there's a wave of nostalgia that's being felt within the collective again. And I say again because we go through these cycles of these waves of nostalgia, these waves of recognition of the soul connection. And throughout our journey, with our counterparts, again, we have experiences. We are very human. Our humanness comes into play. Maybe there's karma. Maybe there's contracts that are being played out. Maybe you are triggering each other, mirroring each other. That's activating old wounding or old traumas. Now, again, you're not doing this ever intentionally. The triggers are never intentional. The stuff that comes up that triggers you is never intentional. Again, you're playing out the unconscious to bring it up for healing, and that's all coming from a place of unconditional love. Now, it's not to say somebody attacking you or abusing you or bullying you or being cruel to you is unconditional love. But underneath the surface, so we're not looking at the 3D aspect. That's where you have your boundaries. That's where you assert yourself. You stand up for yourself. You say, this is not okay. That's where you, in your 3D sense, have to allow yourself to say, okay, this I'm not engaging in. This is not going to be part of my experience anymore. This is where I'm going to have a boundary, and whatever it is that you have to do to assert yourself, to not abandon yourself, to honor yourself, to love yourself. But we're talking about the 5D. We're talking about the energy. We're looking at it from a wider lens, from the soul's perspective when it comes to these connections. And so you might, between the two of you, play out certain scenarios or play out certain experiences that's coming up, not because you intend to. There's no ill intention between these counterparts, but it comes up to the surface because it's unconscious, and it's played out unconsciously between the two of you until one or both of you become conscious, and then you can repair, then you can heal, then you can mend. And that's the second part of this journey, the higher heart ascension, is because it becomes more harmonious because you become more conscious and you're connecting more consciously. Maybe that's in healthier communication. Maybe that is in healing together, growing together. Maybe that's in having, when there's conflict, allowing yourself to take some time apart to look within and see, where is this conflict being stirred within you? How can you take accountability or responsibility for the conflict, your part that you played? How can you mend the connection? It's all about consciously connecting now. The twin flame journey was the healing aspect because it was the unconscious, what I call the twin soul. Again, could be the same person. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the energy now. It shifts. The energy shifts. As it shifts, it becomes much more conscious, and so you're consciously connecting now. And so what's happening is you might be coming back around to feeling and viewing each other as you did at the beginning stages of your journey. And when I say the beginning stages of your journey, when you met your counterpart or were reunited with your counterpart, when you were activated to this ascension journey, there was just love. You felt that honeymoon stage. You felt that sacred bubble. That is the absolute truth of your connection. But part of your ascension journey, I guess you could call it a contract that you have with each other, but it's not contract in the way that we think of these soul contracts. The part of the journey that you have with each other is that through the unconditional love, you said, I'm going to trigger the crap out of you. But we're going to do this from a place of healing. We're going to do this from a place of love so that we can grow, so that we can evolve, so that we can heal, so we can be the best versions of ourselves, so that we can learn. Now, again, because that was all unconscious, because you weren't aware of that in the beginning phases of your journey, your humanness got in the way. Old templates, old patterns, this is what a relationship needs to be. This is what a relationship needs to look like. We're going to follow the old paradigm. You weren't aware of your own triggers. You weren't aware of your own pain patterns, your own wounding, your own traumas. And so because of that lack of awareness, that's where the journey became very confused. Maybe you became confused of your own feelings. Maybe you became confused of where the journey was leading you because it was rocking the boat, so to speak. That's where some tower moments came in, where you might have thought that you were on track for one version of your life, or you had expectations for where you were going, and you met your counterpart, and all of a sudden life fell apart because you were catalyzed to something greater. And this relationship, this sacred relationship, is truly the greatest thing that you will ever encounter for your growth, for your evolution, for your embodiment, and just plain and simple for love. And in your heart space, you know that as truth. So you're coming back around to the beginning again. This wave of nostalgia. You might be dreaming or daydreaming about the good times that you had together, the harmony that was experienced, the harmony that was shared. There might be a sense of tenderness that's coming through for each other. And that's because you're remembering the love. It's not about bypassing. It's not about sweeping everything under the rug that you experienced. You might have had difficult experiences together. Whatever that scenario is, everybody's experience is going to look a little bit different. Whatever that experience is, it might have been very challenging. It might have been very difficult. But you're remembering, again, the truth of the connection. It's not about, again, bypassing or sweeping anything under the rug or excusing anything or avoiding anything or dismissing anything. You had experiences. Those experiences were part of your journey, but how did you learn from them? How did you evolve from them? How did you grow from them? And in conscious connection, how did you grow together? How did you heal that? How did you repair that? From the disconnection, how did you reconnect? From the separation, how did you find that union again? And remember that you've always been in union, and that the separation from yourself or separation from your counterpart was only the illusion. You've always been in union together. But it's about connecting where there's disconnect. So you have been reminded of those times when love was expressed effortlessly, when harmony was shared, and it's potentially evoking an emotional response of even missing each other. But there's a difference now. Rather than missing each other in the sense of longing, in the sense of separation, in the sense of lack, there's a space that's being held within the heart, is what I'm hearing now. So there might be a desire to escape into memories of your love for each other through dreams. You might be sleeping a lot or feeling a call to rest a lot, or through daydreams. And you might have trouble doing like your everyday, day-to-day tasks, because it's like almost like there's a flood of memories, a flood of love that's coming through, a flood of that nostalgia. Allow yourself to indulge in this, but indulge in this mindfully. This indulgence, allowing yourself to dream about each other, allowing yourself to daydream about each other, to think back on these memories, is a healing of the heart-to-heart soul recognition. Because again, you're remembering the love, and that's the healing. The love is the healing. So you're remembering, healing the heart-to-heart soul recognition before the pain stories were unconsciously played out. Now, just be careful. And when I say be mindful of this indulgence, be careful that it doesn't spiral into longing and lack. That longing and lack encourages separation. That longing and lack is separation. So as you are feeling into these memories or this nostalgia or this tenderness or this love, do so mindfully, and do so from a place of anchored into that union within yourself, to that union within the higher heart. Remember, the love that existed in your connection then, in those good times, in the harmony, in the peace and the love, also exists now in the present moment. So anchor into the heart space to stay connected to that energy of love. Okay, so utilize the tools and resources you've learned along the journey, and also remain very grounded and anchored into the heart space. And tips for grounding your energy can be going outside for a walk, spending some time in nature, taking an Epsom salt bath, spending some time by the water. Just make sure that you are grounding your energy. The energy has to be grounded, because otherwise that's where it gets flighty, that's where it gets too indulgent. That's where you can kind of spiral off into more stories, and that's where the separation can happen. So make sure that you're grounding this energy. Really important here. Especially on your spiritual journey, we can, as spiritual beings, remembering our spirituality, our spiritual essence, we can get very ungrounded. We're meant to ground that into the physical plane, and that's where your own inner feminine and inner masculine plays a part. Your inner masculine is the grounding energy, so make sure that you are, again, very anchored in to the earth plane, to your human essence, rather than too much in the spiritual. We're meant to be the bridge between the two. So we're embodying now, we're grounding that spiritual essence. So yang energy on the bottom of the deck, we have peace, we have soulmates, we have happy, happy. This is exactly what we have been experiencing, exactly what we have been feeling. This sense of peace that is coming back into the connection. You can feel it within yourself. Now, if you are not seeing that in your physical sense yet, or if you are not meeting somebody that is bringing that sense of peace to connection, again, everybody's on a little bit of a different path, then just find that peace within yourself. Tune into that inner peace. I do want to mention that I've had a couple of clients reach out to me. I'm just pulling up her message. I've had a couple of clients reach out to me. There's one that I shared on the community tab with a little bit of an essay. So if you guys want to check that out, where she said that her counterpart is not only communicating more vulnerably with her, but he is looking for a new job that is more in alignment with him. I think I got that right. I can't remember the exact story, but he's looking for changes in his life that is more in alignment with who he is, his passions, etc. Which is a beautiful indication of the transformation and the growth that these divine masculines are really beginning to embody. I just had somebody else yesterday share that they are back in union with their person with an easy, simple conversation. And she says it was a 2-minute talk, which brought about honesty, understanding, and it was just as simple as her being herself and anchoring into the love within herself. And I always want to affirm for you guys that this is a testament to you. Each of you, whether you're the divine masculine or the divine feminine in this scenario, you're both doing the growth because you are one. There is no separation. There is no other. As you do the growth, your counterpart does the growth. As you heal, your counterpart heals. You're both doing this together, and your physical union will be a reflection of that. When you come into that conscious connection, you can both say to each other, oh, okay, this is what's triggering me. This is what I need to heal. And you'll hold that space for each other. That's what union is within yourself. It's that balance, it's that harmonization where you hold that space for each other. That's what brings about this sense of peace. But you experience that within yourself, and that's a testament to your journey, where you're not looking at the other to complete you. You're not looking at the other to bring you that validation. You're not looking at the other to heal you. You're doing that healing within yourself, that growth work within yourself. You're not attacking or blaming the other person for your journey. You're taking that responsibility and that accountability for yourself, and that's where that self-forgiveness comes in. That's where that harmony comes in. That's where that inner child healing comes in. That's where that coming back to love comes in. You do that within yourself, and that reflects in counterpart connections. Now, again, there is some of us that are at different levels of this journey, experiencing different layers of this journey. Take it as it resonates for you. You are exactly where you need to be. It is perfect for you. And again, there's also different paths that people are taking. There might be the original counterpart who was a catalyst for your ascension, who activated you to your ascension, that is growing along with you. And there'll be evidence of that. But don't look for the evidence in the 3D. Feel it within your heart space. Feel that transformation within you. There'll be others who are meeting soulmates or meeting other counterpart connections. But it's always going to be a reflection of you and your healing and your growth. So you hold the key. You hold the key for each other. I'm getting drawn. We did a channeling a couple of months ago about the lock and the key. Try to remember to put that in the description box as well. Again, I'll put all the links of interest if you've missed anything in description box for you guys to check back on. These are timeless readings. So as I'm mentioning these readings, there's a purpose for it. There's a reason for it. Allow yourself to go back, rewatch those videos, and take what resonates for you, because there might be deeper messages, layered messages there. I'm getting called to the lock and the key, and here you have these counterparts, right? You have the heart, you have the key. This is the masculine and the feminine energy, and I'm getting that this is the masculine holding the key, and the feminine's heart is open. She is receptive. She's feeling safe and secure with the masculine, and that's what the masculine provides. The masculine energy provides that feeling of safety and security so the feminine can open her heart. The feminine energy, as the masculine, offers that safety and security, as the masculine offers that container for the feminine to be her authentic self, loves her unconditionally, and shares and shows that love unconditionally, the feminine just kind of sinks. You see how she's just being held? She just kind of melts into that safety, into that security, into that, I can surrender. That's what this feels like. She feels like she's just surrendered into the masculine's arms because the masculine offers that safety and security for her to do so. She's not rigid. She's not tense because the masculine is providing that safe space for her to surrender, to keep her heart open. It's a really touching, tender, beautiful energy here. And the feminine energy, as she surrendered in that energy of openness and love and tenderness, she multiplies, magnifies that energy, and gives that back to the masculine in this beautiful circle of endless love. You are the key to happiness for yourself, for each other. You're the key, and you hold the key for each other. It's not to say that you hold the key for each other's happiness. You hold the key for your own happiness. But again, it's almost like it's better together. Together, that's magnified. And again, you have felt this with each other. What were the best memories that you've had together? What were the best moments that you've had together? It's when there was peace. It was when there was harmony. You could have been doing the most mundane tasks of washing the dishes, or going for a drive, or putting furniture together, or going for a walk, having coffee, reading the newspaper, whatever it was. It could have been the most mundane tasks. But there was peace there. There was harmony there. There was love there, because you were in each other's presence. Because you were allowing for that openness of love to flow between you. That's where you increase each other's happiness. You're whole and complete within yourself, right? And that's what a true sacred relationship is, where you find that interdependence. You're whole and complete within yourself. You're not needing the other person to offer that to you, but you magnify that for each other. You magnify that happiness for each other. You bring it up a notch. You bring it up a level. Many levels is what I'm getting. Many levels. You increase each other's happiness. That is the sacred relationships. It is truly, truly sacred. And I feel like there's a lot of masculine energy that is being just anchored in, that is being amplified here. The masculine energy is incredibly, incredibly present. Just saw the number 11 here as well. So let's see a little bit about what is happening in this connection. I'm gonna go to this deck. Let's see what's happening for the Divine Masculine. Actually, I'm going to get another Oracle card. What's happening for the Divine Masculine? We have all that glitters. I'm feeling like the mask of illusion is coming off. The mask of illusion is coming down. How they might have seen themselves, how they might have seen others, how they might have seen the world. There's a huge shift in perspective. We also have the card a leg up and the thinker. So they might be in a little bit of a hermit energy, contemplating. I'm also hearing observing. So they might be observing. They might be observing you, Divine Feminines, as well. Maybe not in the physical. They might be. Some of you who have a physical presence online, they might be observing you, but there's a contemplation energy, and they might be observing the energy of you or feeling the energy of you as well. I feel like they're feeling the support. The leg up feels like this energy of support. I feel like they're feeling supported. They're receiving support. Remember, you're not separate from each other. You're one whole. Two parts to the same whole is the way that they brought that to me. Two parts of the same whole. So there is no out there. It's only within you. You are one soul embodied in two distinct personalities, two physical vessels, two experiences, but you have that shared energy field. And I feel like where they were experiencing perhaps that separation, feeling that separation, where they were looking outside of themselves for something, that's all coming within. There's a new light that's shining. There's a new illumination that's happening that feels very grounded, is what I'm hearing. And it also feels very guided. That's part of that leg up support. That's why they are in some of that thinking energy. Now, they're not thinking with their ego minds as they might have in the past, trying to overthink, trying to analyze it, trying to put it into a logical perspective. That's very masculine energy, right? Putting it into logical perspective. But as they come online with their heart, they recognize that it's not from a logical perspective. This journey is not from a logical perspective. This relationship is not logical. This relationship is first and foremost felt within the heart. And so where they might try to compartmentalize or box it in or try to put it into some kind of sequence, that's what had to be released. And Divine Feminines, that's what you've been trusting along your journey. Where you have been, that's what you had to learn to trust. Where from the get-go, when you were activated, when you felt this connection, you were always aware on some level. You might not have understood this journey as you do now in the beginning, but on some level, you always felt this connection. On some level, you always felt like there was something greater that was happening here than maybe the relationships you've had in the past or the relationships that you've observed or seen or known. And so Divine Feminine, for you, you allowed yourself to keep your heart open. And that was part of the challenge for you, as you might have come up against roadblocks or obstacles or 3D stuff, right? How can I keep my heart open? How can I keep tuned to the energy of that love that I'm feeling and trust my intuition about this connection when the 3D is showing me something different? And that's where you had to accept the 3D, but also trust your intuition. That's what holding space for you was. You had to find that balance between acceptance and faith, and that's where your surrender was. You had to allow yourself to surrender to, okay, this is what the 3D is showing me, but the 3D is not all there is. I can also hold space for what it is that I'm feeling intuitively, and what I'm feeling intuitively is the love. So, Divine Feminines, that's been the biggest challenge of your journey, is trusting your intuition and honoring that intuition. And you have had many perhaps dark nights or crisis of faith or challenges with regards to that. That's been part of your initiation. For the Divine Masculines initiation, it was coming at it from a different perspective, where they might have come at it from a very logical perspective. Again, I'm almost seeing like little boxes or little blocks, and it's like, this is my family life, this is my relationship, this is my job, this is my finances, looking at it from very like compartmentalized. And what they had to do is they had to release that compartmentalization and tune into their heart space more. Now, the logical mind is a powerful tool. The masculine mind is a powerful tool. The masculine mind is also how we create, but we bring that into the heart space, and that's how we manifest, through that heart space, through the balance of the mind and the heart. So we don't negate that logic. The masculine mind that's where part of their power comes from. And that's where they take leadership. That's where they guide. That's where they have direction. And that's where the Divine Feminine surrenders to that leadership and that direction. It's not submission. It's not, I have to agree with you all the time. The feminine will never do that. She will challenge the masculine to honor their own intuition, to honor the feminine's intuition. But that's where you work together in that harmony. And you can experience this. I always say, take this for your inner masculine and inner feminine as well. Take this to understand your counterpart connection, what they might be experiencing, or take this as a global collective. You can experience this within your inner masculine and feminine as well, where you at times have to apply that logic, apply that practical mindset. But you're learning to do that from the intuition, from the heart space. It's about the two coming into balance, where you're not ignoring one for the sake of the other. You're honoring each other. That's where you have communication with each other, healthy communication. That's where you consider each other. And in a conscious connection, there is consideration of each other. It's not self-serving. It's not individualistic anymore. Yes, you have your individual lives as part of the interdependence. You still have your own likes, your own dislikes, maybe your own friend groups. You do things outside of each other. You don't have that codependency, but it's always in consideration of the relationship. Your relationship, your connection becomes a third energy that has to be nurtured too. It's where the I becomes the we. And because it becomes the we, it doesn't negate the I. You're still you. You're still the unique version of you, but you're also in consideration of the we. It's that third energy that you give birth to. You don't become enmeshed in each other. That's where there's a freedom to be yourselves in these connections, these conscious connections. It's not, you don't become suffocated, you don't become enmeshed, you don't lose yourself in each other. You still, the identity of you, you're still your unique version of you. But the we is the third energy of the relationship that is then considered as well. You consider each other, you consider the connection, you consider the relationship. It's not as self-absorbed or self-actualized or not self-actualized or self-identifying or individualized as you might have been being single, for example. So I feel like there's a balance, an understanding of the balance that's coming in, an enlightenment and understanding of that coming in for the divine masculine, where they are beginning to honor their own intuition, and as such beginning to honor the feminine's intuition, the divine feminine's intuition, their counterpart, the wisdom and the knowledge that she shares, the wisdom and the knowledge that she holds, the heart-centeredness that she holds. And so I feel like they're beginning to receive that, allow themselves to receive that too. And they do that by honoring their own intuition. As you honor your own intuition, you're honoring your divine feminine. As you're honoring your divine feminine, you're honoring your own intuition. It's not separate. It's not separate. And I feel like they're beginning to understand this. So there's something here about the illusion that is coming down. The veil is being lowered, and they're seeing truth within the heart space, the heart to heart connection. They're seeing that heart to heart connection here. And that's allowing themselves to be vulnerable. We had channeled a couple of weeks ago divine masculines being in kind of like a cosmic egg, a cocoon, and there was a very real rawness, a vulnerability that was coming through here, a real nakedness. I was seeing a naked masculine within this cosmic egg, and there was all this beautiful energy, light codes flowing around them. And that was a gestation period for this rebirth. And I feel like this rebirth is taking place. And it's a really beautiful energy. It's a new coding I'm hearing that's coming through. And a new coding, I mean, it's a shift in energy. That's all coding is. It's a shift in energy, a shift in perspective, a shift in understanding of your essence, your soul's essence, versus the mask that you might have worn as your self-identity, the mask that you might have worn as a survival mechanism. That mask is being lowered. That authenticity is coming out. Who you truly are, who you've always seen each other to be, is coming through now. And you're approaching the connection thus with more vulnerability and honesty and more of that authenticity than ever before. It's a beautiful, beautiful energy. Divine feminines. Where's the divine feminines? We have the fates. Interesting. 17 might be a pivotal number for the two of you, or for you, divine feminine. For me, it's a counterpart number. It's also a number that you're on the right path. It's a number that, no matter what happens, you're on the right path. And to allow yourself to have faith, anchor into that faith, and trust in that faith. The fates is an energy of destiny. It's about trusting in your destiny, trusting in the unfolding. There is free will. I'm getting called to this. In my Tarot in Translation video course, I teach this. The major arcana in tarot are the fated events, the big events, right? It's the stuff that you have charted in your soul contract as you came to as you came to Earth. The minor arcana are how you experience that. It's how you deal with that. So the major arcana might be, for example, I'll give my example. For my example, I experienced illness. And illness was a huge catalyst for a major level of my awakening. And it shifted my life. It turned my life upside down. I quit my corporate job. I began a business. So it was a big catalyst for a lot of things in my life and a lot of levels of spiritual understanding and spiritual awareness and spiritual awakening. And so that was, for example, a major arcana card. It could be like the Tower moment. Now, the minor arcanas are how you deal with that. That's your free will. The minor arcanas are your free will. How are you going to deal with that Tower, for example? So that's what this feels like. I'm getting drawn to, you have certain destined events, and I feel like this connection is a destined, fated connection. But how are you going to approach the connection? How are you going to approach your journey? Are you going to resist it? Or are you going to surrender? Or are you going to do the development, the growth work, the healing work? Or are you going to play out the same unconscious patterns? So that's what this feels like. It feels like with the 17 and this Fates card, it's like there's this destined, maybe this destined event, this destined meeting, this destined reunion that's happening, that's coming up. These union doors are open. There's going to be communication. There's going to be meetups. Maybe for those who are meeting new counterparts, there's going to be a new beginning, a new meeting with somebody new. If this is the old counterpart coming back, conversations, phone calls, some kind of communication that is going to get the ball rolling for this next phase of your union, the next phase of your journey. But it's all fated. But it's up to you, and you're on the right path for that. But it's up for you. You're on the right, to keep bringing me more. You're on the right path for that because of where you've come, because of the journey that you've undergone, the initiations that you've passed through, the challenges you've overcome, from the embodiment that you're in now, the new frequency, the new consciousness that you've leveled up to. Because of the work that you've done, you're on the right path. You're in alignment, basically, is what they're saying. You're in alignment for these fated events to come through. And so because of this, it's like, how are you going to approach it? Are you going to approach it in the old unconscious patterns and old unconscious ways? Or are you going to approach it from a new level of consciousness? And for 99.9% of you, you're approaching it from the new level of consciousness. If you are here and resonating with these readings, if you are not just here for the relationship aspect, but if you are here for the soul growth, if you are here and resonating with this for your own inner masculine and inner feminine, if you're looking at it from the sacred union path of ascension standpoint, from the ascension standpoint, then you are looking at your journey in a conscious way. Thus, as these fated events take place, it's going to be in a more conscious energy. It's going to be from this higher level, from this higher heart of ascension. And there's going to be a lot of more peace that's coming through here. And again, you hold the keys. You hold the keys for this connection together. Let's see what is going on for the divine masculines. What's going on for the divine masculines? What's going on for these divine masculines? The Queen of Cups, I feel like that's you, divine feminine. I feel like they are feeling the divine feminine energy, the divine feminine presence, the love of the divine feminine. With the Temperance card, there's a balance, a healing that's coming to the connection. I'm just getting immediately drawn to this bright spot, this almost like the sun. It's like you have the sun and the moon here coming into balance, and that's what this feels like. It feels like union energy. I feel like it's been quite a while since we've really felt this union energy, but it can't be denied. There is a lot of union energy that's coming through here. What else is coming through for these divine masculines? What else is coming through for these divine masculines? There's a softening energy that's coming through with this Queen of Cups. They might be looking at you as a Queen of Cups. They might be looking at you with this sense of tenderness, with this sense of love. They might be looking at you as somebody who has been incredibly loving towards them. Somebody who has a very open heart, a very soft heart, a very loving energy. It's divine feminine presence here. So I feel like there's just a loving energy being received from you towards them, and they're allowing themselves to receive that. And I feel like they too are offering that love to you, feeling that love for you, divine feminines, because they're seeing your essence. I'm also getting an energy. This might only relate to some of you who have karmic connections, that those third party connections. I feel there's an energy of they're seeing that you're very different from anyone they've experienced in the past. And they're seeing that you might be different from a third party connection that they might be either presently experiencing or having ended. They're seeing that you're different from those past relationships. I'm also getting this could be any feminine energy. So this could be a mother energy. This could be a past relationship with like a sister or a friend or a lover, a partner, former partner. They're seeing that your energy is very different, and your energy helps to heal them with that temperance card. Your energy has helped to heal them rather than continuing to stir up the same old toxic patterns. They might not have always seen that. They might have been playing out their unconscious patterns, wounding, and past experiences with you, divine feminines. But there's, again, a new illumination that's coming in. They're seeing things differently now. They're seeing you differently now. They're not replaying the stories of the past relationships in their mind with you or out with you in the physical. They're seeing you as you've always been to them, which is this very loving energy. Again, coming back to the beginning of what they experienced with you when they first met you. It was the love. And then that love, it just triggered old patterns. And again, it wasn't intentional. I mean, on the highest level, it was intentional because that's what you're here to do. It wasn't intentional. It was just the love is so strong that it triggers anything that isn't love to be cleared. Anything of the past that wasn't love to be cleared. Any toxic relationships that wasn't love to be cleared. And that's what stirred up so much emotion. But there's a real healing energy that's coming through here. I just want to, I feel like I want to give an anecdote for this. So say you guys met. And there's so much love that's experienced between the two of you. But that triggers, that closeness, that intimacy triggers places in the past where maybe that intimacy wasn't acknowledged, that intimacy wasn't allowed, that intimacy wasn't respected or honored. And when I say intimacy, it doesn't mean sexual intimacy, it's emotional closeness. That coming closer to each other, allowing yourselves to be open, allowing yourselves to be vulnerable with each other. It's just triggered, you're triggered by past relationships. And so you unconsciously play that out with each other for the healing. And I feel like that's what's healing now. It's where you had unconsciously played that out by projecting the past onto each other. That's the right word. You projected the stories of the past experiences onto each other. Now that energy is clearing. Now that energy is healing. And you're seeing each other for who you truly are, which is just the love. Just the love. What else is the Divine Masculine experiencing? What's the Divine Masculine experiencing? The Hermit. Yeah, we called that, right? We said that they're in a little bit of a hermit energy. But again, this energy feels like consideration. It feels like really thoughtful energy. It feels like rather than going into the cave and hiding away, it feels like there's a real reflective energy and introspective energy. And they're finding their power through this. There has been a rebirth. There has been a shift in energy here. And I feel like they're finding their own strength. They're finding their courage. They're finding their own power. Where they might have looked outside of themselves for that. Where they might have looked to you, Divine Feminine. Where they might have looked at the connection for this. They're finding that within themselves now. There's a real strength that's coming through here, real courage that's coming through here. And that is the rise of the Divine Masculine energy. It is pure Divine Masculine energy. The masculine energy is the warrior. And they're beginning to realize that for themselves. Now, the warrior it's that King Arthur energy. I keep coming back to King Arthur because I don't know any other way to describe it. King Arthur energy is a leader, but not a leader by control. It is a heart-centered leader. It is a leader by intuition. Again, using the practical mind, too. You need that as a leader. But also coming from that heart space. It is true divine masculine energy, true sacred masculine energy, conscious masculine energy. And so I feel like they are just really finding their own inner guiding light. And part of that guiding light is you, divine feminine. Because again, there is no other. You are one. You have that shared energy system. You are one. And so you're guiding each other. You're always guiding each other. And now they're beginning to recognize that within themselves, find that within themselves. And as they find that within themselves, they find you and come home to you, divine feminines. Because that guiding light is you too. Again, you're that guiding light for each other. And divine feminines, the masculine energy here that we're talking about is also that masculine energy within you. Again, you have a physical person, a physical embodiment, but remember, it's not somebody that's separate from you. It's that shared energy field. And so as your masculine is finding their way home to you, you're and rising in their divine masculine essence, you're anchoring in your own inner masculine, your sense of safety, your sense of security, your sense of trust. So you're finding your way home to each other and guiding the way for each other. I don't know how else to put that. Divine feminine, what's going on with you? What's going on with the divine feminine? We have the Eight of Swords. Feeling breaking free. I was getting a message before I sat down to do this reading. This energy of time stood still. I kept hearing the day that time forgot. And we have, I think this is a leap year. Is this a leap year? I feel like this is a leap year. I can't remember. Time is weird, especially when I'm channeling. But I think we have 29 days this month instead of 28. And I'm getting this sense of the day that time forgot. And it's like time is standing still. And I feel like this is a chance for you to break free from any constraints, any blocks, anything that's been a process for you. I feel like there's a breaking free, a breaking open, a liberation for you. And I feel like this day that time forgot, this day that time stood still, is a chance for you to really clear any energy as you are moving into new energy with the next month. March is going to be powerful, powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. We're going to channel more on that coming up on Susan Dawn Ascension Connections. Make sure you're subscribed over there. But powerful stuff coming up. Just like we had anticipated February being big. February was huge. It's going to keep picking up that momentum in March. March is going to be a doozy as well. But with the Eight of Swords energy, I feel like you're breaking free where you were just holding yourself back in some way, where you felt blocked in some way. There's this breaking open. And again, I feel like there's this something about the next 2 days, something about today, tomorrow, perhaps. Again, this is a timeless reading, so take it as it resonates for you. But this time stood still. It's like almost like a void for you to really maybe do a deep dive, do that inner healing and say, where do I need to break open? Where do I need to break free? What is still holding me back? It's like you're right on the verge, you're right on the edge of something. And it's like a big consciousness shift that's coming in. Some of you might have already experienced this, but there's a very healing, clearing energy that's coming through. So there might be some residual energy if you've already experienced that breakthrough. If you haven't experienced that breakthrough, that's what's coming. It's a big consciousness shift. Tell me more about the divine feminine. What's going on for the divine feminine? What's going on for the divine feminine? The King of Swords. Oh, okay. Some of that could come from communication. Some of the breakthrough could come from communication. I'm getting two messages here. So if you've already had an internal breakthrough where something broke free within yourself, you liberated yourself from some kind of past energy, some kind of pattern or something like that. It was big. It was a consciousness shift. It was a huge leap. It was like a big, big step forward for you. And you'll know it if you experienced it. There could be some communication coming through with regards to your counterpart or from your counterpart that is residual energy from this breakthrough, from this clearing. For those of you who have not had that sense of breakthrough yet, I feel like it could be coming from the counterpart, or you could be having clarity around the counterpart that could be contributing to this breakthrough. So take it as it resonates for you. But some kind of communication or some kind of clarity that is contributing to this. right? Divine Feminines. And we have the King of Pentacles. It's bringing stability. I'm just getting like a progression. Like it's bringing the stability in. That's what this breakthrough is. Yeah, and success. It's closing a chapter, completing a cycle, and bringing in much more stability. You might be actually anchoring in your own inner masculine, or for those who are in communication or conversation with your counterpart, it could be anchoring in to that physical union. That's what I'm getting as well. Beginning the next phase of your physical union. So communication coming through, bringing about breakthroughs. That is going to move you forward, move the connection forward, move that union energy forward. At the very least, it's gonna bring through a new cycle, and that new cycle includes union in some way, shape, or form. Big energy, big energy. All right, I want to see how you guys are feeling towards each other. How's the Divine Masculine feeling towards the Divine Feminine right now? Fun. Bring that playful energy back into the connection. Bring that lighthearted energy back into the connection. We have differences, and I feel like that playful energy is going to overcome any differences. So if you've had a difficult or challenging experience with your connection, if there's separation here, for example, I feel like there's going to be some lighthearted energy that's coming in that's going to help you overcome those differences. Help you overcome that separation energy. How's the Divine Feminine feeling about the connection? How's the Divine Feminine feeling about the connection? How's the Divine Feminine feeling about the connection? We have the card Fear. You might be a little bit tepid, is the word that I'm getting. Tepid about this. About the new beginning. Might be feeling a little bit anxious about how any conversations might play out, any reconnection might play out. There might be some anxiety that's coming up, but I feel like you're going to be breaking through this. I feel like that's part of this breakthrough, where you're anchoring into that safety and security within your own inner masculine, where you're feeling like, I don't have anything to be concerned about. My person is me. My counterpart is me. He's just reflecting back to me my own fears. And so that's where I feel like you're going to overcome. So you might be feeling a bit anxious about reconnecting, but keep coming back to that love. Keep coming back to that peace, because that's going to overcome any anxious energy here. How you're feeling about the connection, gifts, and friendship. So yeah, keep coming back to the foundation. You don't have to have everything all at once. In fact, you likely won't. This connection is a process. Reunion, reconciliation is a process. So you allow it to unfold. There are still things that you have to learn about each other. I've always said, as you come back into union, you're going to have to get to know each other again. It's like you're starting at the beginning, but without all that toxic energy. So allow this to unfold in a beautiful way. The beginning is your gift. The beginning is the gift for you. The foundation of friendship that you build with each other is the gift for you. So start small, start fresh, start at the beginning, start building that foundation, start learning to trust each other again, start with supporting each other in a very healthy way. Start at the beginning. It's like you get a second chance here. It's like either this is somebody that, again, your counterpart, your original counterpart, that you already know, they've already met, and you have a second chance with each other to build a healthier foundation, to have a healthier start. Or this could be somebody new, a new counterpart connection, and it's a new beginning with that counterpart, and it's healthier, it's much more conscious. This is the gift. You have a fresh chance. You have a fresh start. Don't give in to the fear. Don't give in to the anxiety. Don't let the past pull you back into the old ways. Don't let the past keep you from building this foundation of friendship. And from the friendship, you get to decide together, because you're communicating more consciously, because you're operating on the same page now, you get to decide together what it is that you want from the connection. Maybe there's romance, maybe there's family, maybe there's business, maybe there's, a relationship. Whatever it is that you want, you get to build it from this new foundation together now. Because in the beginning, again, you were operating from the unconscious. Now you're much more conscious of yourself. You're much more conscious of each other. You're much more conscious of what this connection means. So take it slowly. Take it as slow as you need to. But this is this is a second chance. This is a second chance, either for your connection or for yourself in a new connection, but this is a second chance at union. Wow. Okay. I'm going to end this here. I don't think we're going to have a Patreon extended. I'll do something extra special for the Patreon members. But I feel like this is what needed to come out, what wanted to come out today. We'll come back with some more Sacred Union energy updates and mini readings to kind of check in on the energy, but this energy feels very fluid. It feels very lovey. It feels very peaceful. Allow yourself to embrace this. Allow yourself to embrace this, because this is your union. This is your union. I'm sending so much love and so much light.